All right, welcome back to my channel. This is Cody Marshall. Again, trying to bring hope to the hopeless out there suffering from myalgic encephalomyelitis. And I'll take this opportunity to say I hope I'm actually saying that right. I've never heard a professional say the word encephalomyelitis, so I can only assume I got it right, but I have heard some others say encephalomyelitis. So anyway, if I'm saying it wrong, I hope you understand that it's not even important. But today, on our 5th installment, wanted to talk to you about other pathogens. And primarily, we're going to dive into worms and amoebas that I don't believe are being addressed very well by the other doctors. Oh, look who's coming. He figured out we were... All right. And again, I hope you enjoy taking a walk with me instead of just looking at my ugly mug sitting in a chair or something like that. And if you've made it this long and listened to the other videos, hopefully you've gotten started on your own program. I'm going to go ahead and take this opportunity to really try to drive home the idea that I don't believe the doctors can really help. In fact, I think a vast majority of the doctors out there will exacerbate your problem. And so I'm going to take this chance to encourage you to become your own doctor and look at some of the suggestions I've given and try them out and see if it works for you as well. The last video I talked about Dr. Chia, who uses a protocol of rifampin and oxymetrine. And so this is an important video because it's absolutely critical that we recognize that we're dealing with a whole host of different types of parasites. And in the section below, I'll include a link to an article about the worm parasites that have been found in chronic fatigue syndrome sufferers, which at this point, I think you can realize just as I do that what we're really talking about is an immune system problem, and it allows us to basically catch everything out there. So ultimately we do need to get back to the core of the issue, which is our immune system allows us to be infected by everything. But until we get to that, it's important that we recognize that we need to deal with the additional parasites, worms and amoebas. And so just assuming that you have them, and just let you know as well, I went ahead and invested in my own microscope, very high powered, took some pictures, and you may have already seen the results of that and showed that there were worms in a stool smear. And hopefully that alerts you to the idea that you may as well be suffering from that. I give it a pretty high probability, and the article that I leave in the comment section will also suggest that there's an extremely high probability that you're dealing with that as well. So it's important because doctors so often have a tendency to just ignore them. And even if you've been tested positive, they have a tendency to just say, nah, it's not a big deal. It's not going to affect your quality of life. You can live with the parasite. And that's probably true for most people, but unfortunately, we cannot handle the additional toxic overload and the additional strain on our immune system. So with that, that's why I want to stress how unfortunate I think Dr. Chia's approach is, and most likely your doctor as well, that it ignores those. And that's why I've suggested the use of doxycycline in combination with the rifampin and other things. Hold on just a second here. I'm going to try to tilt this a little bit different for you. All right. Oh, no, I went the wrong way. Forgive the delay. Hey, Maverick. Okay. You ready? Let's continue. So with the doxycycline, by the way, you can do your own homework on that. You'll see that it's actually effective against worms and even amoebas. So it's very broad anti-parasite type of medicine, which is why I highly recommend it in combination with the rifampin. With that in mind, it's important that you know that rifampin creates a high level of, I forget the term for it, But basically it lowers the serum amount of any other medications that you're taking. So it is important to increase your dosage of doxycycline. So I'm going to take a moment to talk about dosages. I actually was laid out for a couple of days because I had increased my dosage of rifampin, and that caused high level of Herxheimer's, and so I suffered with it. I went back to the basic level of dosage for rifampin, which you'll find is about 600 milligrams per day. I haven't found any information that suggests that that's different for bigger people or anything of the sort. But because I had read an article about the use of even higher dosages to improve some of the results, I gave it a shot. I only went up to 900, and that was enough to really lay me out. So I'll take this opportunity to say, learn from my mistake. Maybe don't go that high. This is not a sprint, but obviously it's more like a marathon run here. So continue your medication on a lower level and test it out, of course. If you can handle 900 milligrams, go for it. But at this point, if you've made it this far into this and you don't have a doctor that can help you with it, part of the reason that I continue my channel with my identity somewhat hidden is because this is the time I'm going to recommend that you go ahead and just procure the medications I suggest without the use of a doctor. Can that be done? Yes, it can. It's not entirely against the law either. Now, when you order these from abroad, you are supposed to only get about a 3-month supply. And depending upon your location, it may or may not be illegal. But in most cases, you can usually get a 3-month supply without even having to provide a prescription. And you order that abroad and get it sent to you. So I have a resource. Maverick, sit. Maverick.